proceeded to rape Jennifer. She meticulously studied his face so that if she lived, she'd be able to help the police put the man away. Jennifer convinced the man to let her get him a drink, and as she did, she made a break for it. The man fled and raped another girl a half a mile away. Jennifer proceeded to pick Ronald Cotton out of a lineup and eventually testified under oath that Ronald Cotton was her rapist. Ronald Cotton was sentenced to life plus 25 years. 11 years into his sentence, DNA evidence proved Ronald Cotton's innocence. To date, there have been 283 people exonerated because of DNA evidence. 75% of those cases had eyewitness testimony. The point of my story is the justice system is imperfect. And today I will advocate for the abolishment of capital punishment by providing 3 examples that call into question the use of capital punishment in the United States. I call these examples expense, effectiveness, and association. So why should we care about capital punishment? The use of capital punishment has been ardently debated by many. The power of a government to take the life of one of its subjects is the greatest power a government maintains. According to the 2009 Gallup poll, 65% of Americans are in support of capital punishment, while 31% are opposed. These numbers, while fluctuating some, have remained fairly consistent over the last 60 years. My first point, expense. Quite frankly, it's cheaper to keep. When a prosecutor decides to pursue the death penalty, by statute, the defendant must retain 2 lawyers as the consequences are astronomically high. The attorney fees, coupled with the number of appeals and the price of expert testimony, gets extremely expensive. The cost to imprison someone for life is a fraction of this cost. With state and federal budgets in dire straits, a substantial sum of money can be saved with the abolishment of capital punishment. Proponents cite reasons such as incapacitation, deterrence, and retribution. The idea of incapacitation refers to the prevention of future murders by the execution of murderers so that they never murder again. Opponents claim that incapacitation can be accomplished by life in prison rather than the taking of life. One researcher claims, obviously for those executed, it serves as an incapacitative function. However, my own research shows that the probability of a future homicide being committed by a first-degree murderer while serving a life term is less than 1%. Clearly, incapacitation can be achieved without the taking of life. Proponents often cite retribution as justification for capital punishment. The concept of retribution is to provide justice for the murder victims, their families, and society at large by carrying out executions. Many experts claim that at the very least, once capital punishment is carried out, justice is provided for the families. One expert says of the various historical, economical, political, and ideological arguments made by those who favor capital punishment, retribution is the only one supported by empirical evidence. Opponents claim that retribution is not effective. One expert says capital punishment is imposed far too infrequently and illogically to achieve retribution. Another expert says capital punishment might provide retribution for the families, but it cannot for broader society. Proponents also cite deterrence as justification. The idea of deterrence is to prevent murders by causing fear in would-be murderers so that they never murder. At the present time, capital punishment is utilized far too infrequently to provide a strong deterrent effect to homicide, according to another researcher. Opponents claim that there is no deterrent effect. One researcher who conducted a meta-analysis claims that deterrent effect clearly does not exist. Incapacitation, retribution, and deterrence can all be achieved without the taking of life. My final point is called association. With the vast majority of Americans supporting capital punishment, what company does that put us in? At present, there are 139 countries that retain the use of capital, that have abolished the use of capital punishment, while 58 countries retain it in law or practice, including the United States. The United States was one of 5 countries in 2008 that accounted for 93% of all known executions. The others were China, Iran, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. With so many countries abolishing capital punishment, why does the United States continue executions? In 1983, the European Convention of Human Rights was amended to abolish capital punishment during peacetime. Today, admission to the European Union is contingent upon the fact that you abolish capital punishment. As of 2001, there were 38 states in the United States that retained the use of capital punishment. Of these 38 states, encompassing 40 jurisdictions, 24 of those jurisdictions allowed for the execution of persons less than 18 years of age. With a number of countries abolishing capital punishment and the high possibility of errors in the judicial system, how can we allow this practice to continue? I've demonstrated that the cost to keep inmates alive shows a benefit rather than a hindrance to executions. I've demonstrated that life in prison without parole is a viable alternative to accomplish incapacitation, retribution, and deterrence. And I've demonstrated that the United States is one of a handful of countries that commit the lion's share of executions. To revisit our friend Ronald Cotton, I met him a few years ago and asked him if he got anything out of the government for losing 11 years of his life. He said that they gave him $100,000 and that he had a book deal. The government, though microscopic in comparison to his loss, was able to make some financial gesture to Mr. Cotton for the loss of his life for 11 years. Though it was able to make a gesture to Ronald Cotton, many of those lives who have been taken by the government, possibly in error, will never get that chance.